So the next piece of my response to your review really should be speaking to my future customer. In addition to doing XYZ, I would have loved it if we had the opportunity to do ABC. I think they build on each other. So if you ever, want to look at that, you certainly can call and get me an appointment, whatever.
Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of Coffee with Tea. I'm your host, Tonia Tyler, and I'm excited because we're going to be talking about social media and how do you get free customers from that for free. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome our guest, Miss Joanne Westwood. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you. Yeah, this is exciting.
It's a pleasure to have you here. I always tell the audience where we connected first, just so they have a little bit of an understanding. We connected through Alignable. We were at a networking event. You actually are the hostess with the mostest, I like to say. But before we dive too much into Alignable and how we connect, I want allow you the opportunity to explain a little bit about who you are and what you do, my friend. So the mic is yours.
Well, thank you very much. So, yeah, Joanne Westwood. I single, only have 3 furry children, cats. They may come and visit us here while we're chatting because they kind of like to be up here. And back in the 2000s, 7, 8, 9, I just knew it was time for a career change. Didn't know what that was going to be until Facebook hit. And I had been enamored with computers, but of course, my day and age, we didn't grow up with computers. So figuring out, how am I going to use that? And I loved Facebook. I was good at it. I started doing it for businesses. Thought, I think I could make a living doing this. And so, if my job, makes me mad, then I'll know I can quit and do something else. And wouldn't you know, within a week, they made me mad. So here I am. So for the longest time, I was just one of the top social media gals because I, for once in my life, jumped in at the beginning of the bandwagon. But now there's so many folks coming out of college and so forth. The competition is a little steeper. I focus on helping local businesses be found and seen by a local audience, right? So I don't care whether you're local to Cincinnati, where I am, or local to Kansas City or San Francisco. I can still help you present yourself to your local market. So that's who I am, what I do. It's all online marketing. I love it.
I love it. So, I don't know if I've shared with you, I'm a former social media manager. I used to manage a couple of people out in California, loved doing their stuff. But like you said, it was a challenge. It's a challenge because it was, I started way back in the day too.
You may we're about the same day and age, yes.
Yeah. And so it was, like I said, a little less competition back then, but a lot more, it was felt like a lot more people were just trying to figure it all out. And I the thing is, even though we have more competition, I still think social media is still kind of hard to figure out. So what lessons have you learned in your journey as doing social media? Have you learned that, maybe it's helping maybe you stay the course? Because I left. So, I mean, how do you stay the course with all these challenges and these new sites that come up all the time?
Well, and that's just it. You've got to stop looking at that shiny object, and not every platform is good to reach your audience. So just knowing enough to know where your audience is. There's a different demographic on Facebook than on Instagram, than on TikTok. So finding out where your audience is and then focus just on that. You don't have to be on all of them. Do one really, really well, you'll be fine.
Right. Yeah. I like that. And so, I this is like always an interesting conversation. They talk about, finding your customers and stuff like that. But how do you, I guess before we take a deeper dive, how did this become a passion for you? How, why did social media become like on your radar for it? I mean, was this something that you like were compelled, or you just like, this is my niche? How did you know?
Well, that's really an interesting question, because why would anybody know in the beginning that social media was going to be it for them? So that really wasn't it. I knew I wanted to change. I knew I was enamored with computers. I wasn't going to be programming computers, fixing computers. So I really was kind of waiting around for that. So I have an innate sense for marketing. So my degree is not in marketing, it's in film and broadcasting, believe it or not. But I have a knack for marketing. So I know and understand. Most people are too enamored with themselves to be able to understand that they need to communicate what's of benefit to the person they're trying to serve rather than presenting themselves. So I just had a good sense of that, and certainly enjoyed, because it was on computers and so forth, the whole process of social media. It was new. So I just invested time early on. There was a whole series of training that went over a couple of weeks, I think, online, taught me everything, and it was free. I don't know if the guy still does it or not, but it really was a good jump start. But part of your question was audience and how do you know? So I would want to caution your audience. You don't need to be doing all the research. Tap into the professionals who already know. Here's who I am. Here's who I want to reach. Where should I be? Let them tell you, rather than you doing all that research, because a lot of people get bogged down trying to do my job when in a 30-second conversation I could have given them an answer. So I would recommend that.
I like that because we're talking about, and like I said, we haven't really got into the meat of the interview, but because I was listening to what you said, and you're talking about, like, I think business owners feel like they want to save money, so they wear all these different hats. And so, like you said, instead of me trying to be the social media guru that I'm not, I need to tap into maybe somebody like you who could help you. So how do you help those business owners realize that, you're trying to help them, not hurt them? How to let them learn to let go of that and let you do you.
Yeah, I can't say that it's real easy necessarily, but like, did you sew your own clothes so that you had something to wear today? Did you build your computer so people get lost because anyone can do social media doesn't mean that everyone should be doing social media. If you don't have a marketing yet, if you're a plumber, go do plumbing. Let me help find people who need you to go do plumbing. Make more money doing what you're really good at. So it was interesting because just over the weekend, I was talking with a client, and they were tasking me, here, do this. How much if you do this? How much if you do that? And I kind of pushed back, and I said, you need to get out of the driver's seat, because so long as you are telling me what needs to be done, I have no accountability, and I won't take any. I will do what you say, but your investment isn't going to pay off, as well as if you get out of the way and let me put a marketing strategy together and help you execute that. And he said, well, I kind of get it, but I've been burned, so I'm going to stay in the driver's seat. I'm like, that's your decision, but I take no responsibility for the outcome. So, it's like me trying to fix my plumbing, and then you got to come in, and it's twice as hard to fix what I messed up. Just do it. It should pay off. It may be 3 months of investment before you start getting the financial return on investment, because it's not put an ad up and all of a sudden you make $1 million or so. We wouldn't be doing this, would we? But the right investment and time will yield you far greater results than what you're piecemealing together.
Right. Yeah. good advice. And like I said, it took me a little while to figure it out, because like I said, I had the mindset like I gotta do everything because I'm trying to like save money, and I understand that. So I'm not beating anybody up, but it does pay to allow the experts to do what they do, and that's what I'm learning.
And I have so many people say, "Hey, can I take you to coffee and pick your brain?" No, it costs me a whole lot of money to put that stuff in my brain. That's
right.
Yeah.
Well, I like to say we're about the halfway mark. Miss Joanne has been dropping nuggets, so if you've been picking them up like I have, please give us a thumb up, maybe follow down with a comment below, because now we're going to tap into, she mentioned how to get more customer online for free. So, of course, just talked about, saving dime. So, what have you learned and what would you like to share? Oh, I guess, to get
so like I said, I mean, you certainly can do social media yourself, so, if you're going to, that's fine. I can give you a little bit of, steer you in the right direction. If that's what you're going to do, your best investment of time is in the Google business listing. Because if you think about it, if you're a restaurant or a dry cleaner or whatever, somebody goes into Google and searches, they're going to look at the map and see who's close by, and Google already kind of filtered a lot of that out and gives you 3 primary choices. Those who have good reviews, they're confident they're in business, and that's where you want to show up. So it's really important that you invest the time building out that listing. It doesn't necessarily take long, but I also wouldn't necessarily do it all at one time, because you kind of dripping in some information kind of pings Google again, and so you start really having that handshake. So what I recommend is that you just sit down at night, and there's, several tabs on the back end of your Google listing. Just do one a night. Watch TV and get your name and your address and your hours and all that stuff. Then the next time, go into the business description and put in services. Now, I'm really a stickler for not only just saying that I launder dress shirts, but then in the description, laundering dress shirts, cleaning, starching, ironing, we hang them on a hanger and whatever. That description does not necessarily help in you coming up in searches more frequently, but it certainly communicates to human beings. I do think that the keywords in reviews does help in search. So as you ask for reviews, let's say that Tonia and I have done business together, I might send her a link and say, Tonia, I'd really appreciate it if you would consider giving me a review, and speak to the fact that and then almost put the words in their mouth for them. I mean, why give them a blank sheet of paper? But the important part is to try and fill in some of those keywords and to highlight maybe a unique aspect of who you are, what kinds of services you do. So again, that helps human beings, but those things, what comes in reviews, does show up in searches. So often if you do a search for, dress shirts, laundering, the review of the guy, and it says, oh my gosh, they do such a great job on laundering my shirts, that helped make that show up. And you'll even see Google will say this showed up in a review and so forth. So the bottom line is, certainly if you don't want to pay me to do it, that's fine. You can do it. But make sure you do a little research to give yourself benefit over what you're doing. Like I say, asking for the reviews where you are specifying what kinds of words and services you want them to. Because when they say, oh, I really enjoyed working with Tonia, well, that's nice. That doesn't really help. Now, I am a stickler for responding with, thank you very much, Tonia. Really enjoyed working with you. Now, I'm essentially done with you, because you and I have already done business. So the next piece of my response to your review really should be speaking to my future customer. In addition to doing XYZ, I would have loved it if we had the opportunity to do ABC. I think they build on each other. So if you ever, want to look at that, you certainly can call and get me an appointment, whatever. So that's really more of a promotion and a call to action to your viewer than it is the person you're reviewing. So it's a matter of getting, again, out of your own head. And thank you so much for the review. Well, there your ego was fed. Let's move on. And so, really, how do you capture the attention of the next person, and so forth? So, filling that listing out completely will be of benefit. I can't say then that it doesn't matter that your website looks horrible. Google does look at all of the pieces. So it's going to look at your website. Your website has to have an SSL on it. Google's going to look to see, does anybody else link to you? And you can set that up. There's a whole bunch of directories that you can get your name in. That will be positive links. Google says, oh, yeah. They're obviously in business. They really are at the address they said. You really could call this number and reach them. And that's important because Google's reputation is based on you having a positive experience when you Google something and you get the result that you need. So does that help?
Yeah. It remind me, and I've learned this. I took a copyright class course, and they were like, basically remember. And I think, we didn't dive too much into it, but basically, social media, use it not just for the promotion of who you are, but as a tool. And that's really what I'm hearing, is reminding that Google is a business and you're going into business with Google. Google will help you if you help Google.
Yeah. You both win, because if Google continues to show you and then your number's not right, or if there's all these listings, let's say you just moved and you never went back and cleaned up the listings from the previous address, Google says, I don't really know where you are, so I'm not going to show you. But so you hurt yourself by not managing and keeping up with it. Yeah.
Right. Really great advice. And thank you so much for reminding us that, you do have these are not just platforms. They are businesses in the business of promoting you and themselves.
Right. Very good. Yeah.
So
I do have a PDF online booklet that I can give you the link, and maybe you can include that when you post this thing, and it will help step people through everything that I'm saying. So, like I say, you can go and do it yourself. It's better than not doing it at all, but it's even better if you have me do it.
Well, you know what? Like, so you're giving me some golden gems. We're getting a little ahead of ourselves, because I have I actually got two key questions that I have to ask before we wrap up. And one I want to know is, what's the one thing you want to leave the audience with if they hear nothing else from you?
Online marketing can really help you build your business. I'm still dumbfounded in this day and age to see how many people don't have a website, or have a really bad website that their cousin's daughter did or something. So I think using those tools professionally to represent you professionally, and then not trying to do them all. If you do one really, really well, that's better than doing several poorly. And so finding the one where your audience is and really learning how to use it as effectively as you can.
Right. Yeah. There's so many key nuggets you could take out of there. So we're going to go out of that. But here's the second question I wanted. Where can people find more information about you, your services, and what you do?
Thank you. Well, westwooddigitalmarketing.com. westwooddigitalmarketing.com. So, website full of all kinds of articles and information. It certainly will give you links to my social media. I do more updating on Facebook, LinkedIn, Alignable, than I do my website, because I'm of the mindset that, let's say you're a dry cleaner. I mean, people don't want to learn how to do dry cleaning. They just want to know that you do it and I can call you and set up an appointment and get it done. So I kind of feel the same way. I can teach you how to do things, but I know that you just want to know that I can do it and call me in and I'll do it. So.
Well, thank you, Miss Joanne. It's been a pleasure talking to you. You know, my unofficial question, which my artist who listens, like, kind of just say it's your question. Would you be willing to maybe come back and have a deeper conversation on some other topic that you
Sure.
really?
I would. I even know what that would be.
Thank you. I got some ideas. And again, I want to thank you for your time and your insight and your expertise in sharing with us. I really do appreciate. I'm sorry.
I was just saying, it's been fun. You have a great energy, so it's really fun to chat with you.
Well, thank you. And you know what? The struggles with Zoom are real. So, but I love it. I wouldn't be able to do this without it. So again, thank you for connecting with me and accepting my invitation to come on. And I also want to remind everybody who tuned in, yes, feedback is always welcome. Remember, links that Joanne mentioned will be posted down in the description box. So please make sure you check out those juicy gems down there. And again, if you've enjoyed Joanne's insight and you picked up some gems, please hit that like button. And if you want to continue getting some great insight like what Miss Joanne shared today and other great guests that we have on, please make sure you hit that subscribe button over there. And again, remember, take things in stride, go with the flow, and create your own path. And we will see you back here on another episode of Coffee with Tea. All right, bye-bye.